I will take Joe Burrow over every quarterback. Like, I'm dead ass serious. Did the refs cost the Bengals the Super Bowl? Zach, why the hell wasn't mixing in at the end, bro? Why? So about last night, my Bengals lost in the Super Bowl. Heartbreaking, bro. And I understand, we had no thoughts of winning the Super Bowl this year when the season started. But bro, you get so damn close, you can taste it. And then the waiter just drop your entire entree on the floor. It kind of feel like how video games used to be, and you play this hard ass video game with no checkpoints and no saves, get all the way to the final boss, and then you lose. And you want to feel good about how far you made it, but it's tough because you gotta start all the way over. And in that moment, you just want to throw your entire game system out the damn window. But then you realize that during that playthrough, you acquired certain skills and certain knowledge. And you kind of feel like, you know what, if I just run this back, I think I've got what it takes to go one step further. That's how I feel about my Bengals right now. Cue the Wayne.
Yeah, you'll never know quitter, 'cause I'ma go get her.
All right, before we jump in, a quick word from today's sponsor, Current. All right, man, so thank you again to Current for sponsoring the video. We here at the barbershop about to go ahead and get tightened up real quick. Some of y'all can feel my pain if you got the locks and the undercut with the taper and a little beard. So I'm about to go ahead and see my girl Sylvia, and we're gonna pay for it all with the Current card. Let's get it. All right, man. Jay got freshened up, we're gonna pay for it with the Current card. So Current has been a great sponsor on the channel for a while now, and it's basically a new way to manage your money entirely online, but it also comes with a Visa debit card. That way you can easily utilize it at the mall, the gas station, or the barbershop. And today is a dope day because today we got two brand new things to talk about, and they both involve free money. So the first one is a straight up giveaway. Current is helping me give away $200 a piece to 10 of y'all. 10 people watching this video. Now that's for both brand new customers who sign up today and existing Current card holders who have not won one of these already. You can't just hog up all the money, bro. To enter, you just need to be 18 years old, have a Current account that's in good standing, and download the app and use code FlemLo, baby, and you all set. So that's one way to potentially get some free money. Here's the other. So Current launched a brand new feature, and it's simply called interest. This is one of the best savings options out here right now, as it comes with a 4% APY or annual percentage yield. That's about 60 times the national average. Like 4% is nuts, bro. You definitely want to take advantage of that by signing up for savings with interest. Also, don't forget about the giveaway, man. We're giving away $200 a piece to 10 people who are watching this video. And again, to enter the giveaway, just download the app and use code FlemLo. Shout out to Current once again for sponsoring the video. Without further ado, let's get it. So during this video, I'm going to be critical at points. I'm going to be hopeful at points. Just know, nothing I'm saying is meant to trigger you or to pat you on the back. Like, this is just my personality. This is how I feel. These are my thoughts. And I just give it to you straight based on how I live and how I see things. So I want to start this video by saying early on, bro, I am extremely proud of my team, of the fans, of the players, of the coaches, the organization as a whole. Like, what a run this has been. It's hard because emotions are high, but it is important to maintain perspective on this stuff. There were legitimately people, experts, who picked the Bengals to win like 3 games this year. They did win 3 games. 3 playoff games. And that's honestly insane. But with that said, I'll admit that while I watched the entire season pretty much in kind of like a happy-go-lucky, along for the ride, enjoying football, because I like football. Like, I love the Bengals, but I also love football. So I enjoy, from a football standpoint, the Bengals were great. Like, I love watching the Bengals all year. Like, seriously, bro, I had such a great time all season. But I will admit that things kind of changed, and I'll tell you where. When we beat the Raiders, I was on cloud 9, despite the fact that I knew for a fact we could beat the Raiders. I was very happy when we got the Raiders. No offense to the Raiders, bro. Like, people so damn sensitive. Just, y'all have a good team, but I just felt we was better. We had already beat y'all in the regular season. I knew that our quarterback was better. I knew we were more explosive. And I knew that if we played our game, we'd have a great chance to win that. But as a Bengals fan, I've known that in the past. Like, we're going years and years back in playoff games, and we have managed to lose those. So when we won that Raiders game, I was on cloud 9. The whole house money thing everybody was talking about, I felt that at that point. But after we beat the Titans, things kind of changed, okay? See, after we beat the Titans and we made it to the AFC Championship game, I started smelling that entree. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh damn, it's just one table away. So going into that AFC Championship game versus the Chiefs, you know, for me, that was like, we gotta take this. We so close. We already beat this team one time. I know they're tough. I know they're the Chiefs. They're the big bad in the AFC. I know they're supposedly just played the quote unquote actual Super Bowl and people just assume they're gonna be AFC champions at this point. I didn't care about none of that. I knew we could win that game. So if we would have lost, that one would have hurt. But then we get to the Super Bowl and now it's like, despite the fact that this is, I believe, this will be the worst Bengals team on paper for the next 3 to 6 years, depending on how the front office handles it. It could be longer, but depending on how they handle it, you still got to make the right move. And I'll talk a little bit more about how well set up we are for that in just a second. But despite knowing all that, I also know how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl. I've been watching the NFL for a long time, and I know nothing is guaranteed. And while I'm pretty damn sure that barring injury, of course, that the injury bug can hit anybody, barring that, I know next year the Bengals will be a better team on paper. But there's other teams in the league too, and crazy things happen in these games. And you just don't know if you're gonna ever be able to get back to this point. So while we're here, let's make the most of it. I really needed that victory. Like, I needed it. So once we did eventually come up short, it's heartbreaking, bro. Like, it really is. But you know, people deal with heartbreak in different kind of ways. And I could be an emotional cat, and please understand if you're trying to judge me, emotions don't make me less dangerous. They make me more dangerous, so don't play with me or nobody I love, real talk. But I think maybe because of that, because I can feel emotion so strong at times, I really learned how to process them and how to deal with them and basically use that energy to just continue to propel myself forward. So I'm hoping that the Bengals will kind of take that same energy, use it to go forward, take that hurt and put it in the right place so that we can come back with even more of a vengeance. So let's talk a little bit about the game. Let's start with the refs. They were trash per usual. Y'all remember when they had that trial year where you could challenge pass interference? And all season, the refs did not overturn a single call, not a single pass interference call. Even the extremely obvious ones they did not overturn. They were basically protesting. They were insulted that a coach could challenge their authority on the field, you know, for throwing a penalty flag. Like, who would have the audacity to question NFL refs? They're so good. I remember watching that season, and there was so much going on at the NFL at the time. I don't think I talked about this online, but it was sickening. Like, it was really sickening. And it was sickening to me because not only are you guys pretty bad at your jobs in general, but you're also arrogant. You're so arrogant that you don't seem to think you can be questioned or that you can improve. That's really annoying to me. And when you're both bad and arrogant, that pretty much eliminates the possibility of getting significantly better. That plus the NFL not making these cats full-time employees so that they could train, because they need it. You know, those are like my two big issues with the refs. All right, so that's my general thoughts on NFL refs. I think, again, generally, doesn't mean there aren't a couple exceptions. Generally, I think they're bad at their jobs. With that said, did the refs cost the Bengals the Super Bowl? As a Bengals fan, no, they didn't. Why do I say that? When I look at the refs and how they affected the game, I don't necessarily look at it like play for play. Okay, they threw one flag here and then they threw 3 flags later to potentially make up for it, right? What am I talking about? The 75-yard pass to my dog T. Okay, this play was offensive pass interference. Refs didn't call it. This was one of the biggest plays in the game, bro. It's like the first play of the second half. It's a 75-yard touchdown. Huge play, huge no call. Refs seem to miss it. And I understand hand fighting because Ramsey is always trying to be physical, but once you catch the face mask, that's generally going to be a penalty like every time, right? But they miss it. Then we get to the last drive and they call that phantom defensive holding against Cooper Kupp. Terrible call. It was absolutely a makeup call. And they even followed it up with several more flags that I do think were penalties. And I've only watched the game that one time, so I probably do need to rewatch it. But I thought the one against Logan was BS. I thought the Rams offensive line jumped off sides on that exact same play. So if anything, it should have canceled out. They miss it. Then they throw several more flags until the Rams basically score, okay? I actually remember we had a similar thing happen at the end of the Chiefs game. All very real penalties, by the way. But we got several flags right there at the end of the game. Sometimes you get those, sometimes you don't. Sometimes they go in your favor, sometimes they don't. If I take the win, I gotta take the loss. That's just how I can't live without doing that. Like, I don't know how you would. And the reason is because life has shown me sometimes stuff work in your favor, sometimes it don't. A lot of times it don't. And you either learn to live with that and work around it to overcome it, or you just gonna be bitter, crying, and losing constantly. All right, this is getting dark, but that is really how I feel though. I thought we got away with one in the third, and then they got away with several towards the end. Here's the key thing though. It was still a minute and a half left in the game, and we had 2 timeouts, down 3, right? So I wasn't tripping. I really wasn't. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm saying if we kept the 7 points on the missed call on the OPI, then we ought to be able to survive the 7 points later in the game. And we had an opportunity to do so. The real reason we lost the game was the offensive line. But before I get to them, I want to talk about Zach Taylor. Zach, I like Zach. I supported Zach, and I will continue to, by the way. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a better man. And I think that's extremely important. And I think that is the reason our team is so close and our locker room is what it is and the organization is changing. But that don't mean I ain't gonna be critical. Zach, why the hell wasn't mixing in at the end, bro? Why? Was he hurt? Was he tired? Like, bro, 3rd and 1, bro, in the Super Bowl with like less than a minute left, and we give it to P. Ryan, bro. No offense to P. Ryan, bro. I like P. Ryan. He's a good backup running back. But dog, this is time for the stars. Put Joe Mixon in the damn game, bro. Unbelievable. Like that right there was nuts. But with that said, I wonder if a lot of people who are just going crazy on Zach Taylor today, do they watch other teams? Because there's no perfect coaches. Like, every single coach in the league make mistakes a lot. Sean McVay made mistakes in their last Super Bowl. They've been talking about it all week, how he was unable to adjust and too married to what he had written down on the paper, and that's a big reason why they lost last year. In this game, he made some mistakes. Coaches make mistakes. They not perfect. So did Zach mess up right there? Absolutely. It was dumb. It was almost inexplicable. I'm assuming kind of got caught up in that moment and just overlooked it. That's what I'm assuming. Or maybe something will come out where Mixon was struggling or had an injury or something like that and that we don't know about yet. But while I'm criticizing Zach, I also got to give him credit, bro. The halfback pass. All right, so in the halfback pass, I was in the party chat like, bro, do not run it. I was like, Zach, don't run it. Don't run it. Don't run it. I said, he gonna run it. He gonna run it, ain't he? My boy was like, is he gonna surprise us? I was like, I don't know, but I hope so. Tosses the ball to Joe Mixon in that situation where I was like, we need to pass because it was 2nd down and goal. I was like, bro, pass it twice. If we don't score, cool, kick the field goal. Do not run the damn ball. In that situation, because we've been kicking field goals all postseason because we haven't been able to score in the red zone, mostly because we run the ball on 1st, 2nd down, then we have one chance to throw. If we don't get it, we have to kick. So anyway, he tossed the ball to Joe Mixon. I'm like, the block doesn't look good at all. I'm like, oh my God, this is finna get stuffed. Here we go, 3rd and long. It is a halfback pass. Great call. Great catch by T. Higgins. I love that one. That was a huge play in the game. And to be honest, have we ran that play all year? Maybe once? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? But to call that right there, you know, it was a big call. Other mistakes by Zach, why weren't we running more screens? Especially in the second half, the defensive line had their ears completely peeled back. They was coming. That's why those delayed handoffs was working so well. I think a couple of screens would have worked even better. We don't call those. These are things that we can control. This is why I cannot blame the refs. You feel me? Because like the refs gonna always mess up, like every time, 100% of the time. You can guarantee the refs are gonna do something stupid, all right? But what you can control is what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely wanted to see more screens. I think Zach he actually made a decent number of mistakes in this game. But I've also seen other coaches lose a few games and then go to the podium and start pointing fingers and basically have a meltdown. And I've seen Zach go up there with the utmost class, respect every time, took the accountability, and then he'd learn and he'd get better. He's kind of like a coach when he started. Now, hear me out. Let me say the whole thing. All right. You remember in NCAA, I don't know if they got this in man, but in NCAA, our coaches would have like a grade, then they have a potential grade. So they have a grade of how good they are and then how good they could become if you're stuck with them. When Zac Taylor took over the Bengals, he might have been a C- coach, but the man got B+ potential. He's got B+ potential. And I think this year he grew. I think he grew from a C- coach to potentially either a C+ or a B-, right? I think he's really, really strong in some areas. In the locker room, in the community, like as a leader of men, I think he's up there, A grade. But some of the situational stuff, is lower on that totem pole. But I'm a fan of Zac. I support him as our coach. He messed up in this game a lot. He'll get better. He'll be fine. We'll be back because we also wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl without him. You feel what I'm saying? So for me, as long as he can accept blame, see his mistakes, and work to correct those in the future, he'll be fine. He'll reach that B+ potential. And having a B+ coach in the NFL, like, that's great. Like, that's an extremely good coach. And just given the quarterback that we have with an A+ potential, and they have a great relationship, to me, those two together, the sky is the limit. Don't try to break it up or get rid of Zac just because he's not perfect, okay? Ain't no perfect coaches. They don't exist. Andy Reid's a great coach, right? Super Bowl winning coach, probably a Hall of Fame coach. Why the hell did he call that play at the end of the first half in the AFC Championship game? Instead of throwing the ball into the end zone, he called something to the flats. All right, that was a terrible play call. And then when it didn't work, that's on Andy Reid. And that play right there opened the door for them to lose that game. My point is, coaches mess up. Zac messed up. Don't mean you need to go crazy. Don't mean we need to get rid of him. Don't mean he on the hot seat. It don't mean none of that. It just means he need to look at the film. He need to get better. Come back next year stronger. Now, I want to give Zac credit for one more thing before I move off of him. This entire season, and he hadn't gotten much credit for this actually, he's basically been coaching with his hands behind his back because of the real reason that we lost in the Super Bowl. The main reason, okay? There's about a million variables and things you could point to, sure. But the biggest reason, let me say it like that, was the offensive line. All season long, Zac Taylor has been coaching with the Joe Burrow, who was gimpy on that knee. We all know that. He was gimpy on that knee early in the year. So we had to run the ball way more than we generally would have, even if, like, there was games where we might just punt a quarter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we knew we couldn't protect. So you can't just call whatever you want in the playbook because you always have to account for the biggest weakness on the team, which is the O-line. He navigated all of that. And obviously, Joe Burrow gets and deserves a ton of credit for that, obviously. But when the line is breaking instantly upon the snap of the ball, there's only so much you can do as a coach. Calling the screen would be one of those things, but y'all feel what I'm saying. So just to solidify my thoughts on Zac Taylor, because I'm kind of all over the place with this, because I'm thinking this in real time. I think he is currently a B- coach who started off as a C- and has gotten better. And I think he will reach his potential as a B+ coach. I think he'll reach it as soon as next season. And I think that's literally all we need to get back to the Super Bowl and win it this time. Let's move on. Okay, so on to the real reason, or the biggest reason that we lost: offensive line. Offensive line completely broke down in the second half. And I mean, while I can't say that I'm shocked, it's the reality of the situation. In the first half, we had 15 people on Aaron Donald. We was making it work. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't ideal. It hasn't been all year, but we've been making it work. We've been figuring it out. In the second half of that game, the Bengals' glaring weakness finally caught up to him, and we pulled the absolute worst matchup, by the way. When Tart for the 49ers dropped that pick, I let out an audible scream that permeated throughout my entire neighborhood, because I knew that the Rams were our worst matchup as far as the NFC teams. And it's not that the 49ers ain't good. Of course the 49ers were good. They actually beat us by 3 in the regular season. But I knew we could beat the 49ers. I also knew that we gave them 10 points because we had 2 muff punts by a guy who's not on the roster anymore. And they scored a touchdown on one of those muff punts, and then they kicked the field goal on the other one. 10 free points. We lost by 3. Joe was dicing them up. He looked like a beast in the second half of that game. I felt real good about it. I knew their offense was much more one-dimensional. They're a running team. We play in the AFC North. We were built to stop the run. It was a much better matchup, and their D-line isn't nearly as good as the Rams D-line. Of course, they have Bosa, but it's much easier to key on one guy. Look, we play TJ Watt, Myles Garrett. Like, we know how to key on one guy. We'll be fine. When you got to key on three guys, like you do against the Rams, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm looking at the Rams. This is before the game. I'm looking at the matchup. I'm like, damn, they got a D-line like the Titans. Titans D-line is extremely slept on, by the way. Give them more love. They got a D-line like the Titans, but they don't have Tannehill. And they got Cooper Kupp. And they got OBJ. Prayers up to OBJ, by the way. For the injury, he was playing really well. They got a couple tight ends. They got Van Jefferson, and Matt Stafford is a good quarterback, you know what I'm saying? Much better than a Ryan Tannehill, right? So yeah, it's an extremely scary matchup when potentially the best defensive player ever, or due to at least in that conversation, is also surrounded by Von Miller and Leonard Floyd and the other rushers that they have. And that's the strength of their team. They probably got the best D-line in the league versus what is maybe, possibly, the worst O-line in the league. And we probably not the worst O-line in the league. That's overstating it. But we was definitely the worst O-line in the playoffs. That wasn't even a question. So yeah, obviously that was the worst matchup we could get. And you know, when you talk about the line, you talk about them as a whole. There were individuals on the line who played good at times, decent at other times, not as bad as some other guys on the line. You know what I'm saying? But the line as a whole just completely broke down in the second half. Aaron Donald and them took over the game. They mucked it up, and our offense could not move in the second half because if we can, bro, the defense, y'all can talk about Eli Apple all you want to. And it's funny, like the Twitter stuff is hilarious. But the truth of the matter is, bro, we gave up 23 points. That ain't nothing, bruh. 23 points, that's great. The defense did their job. They completely shut down the run, and the Rams had to make a couple of plays in the pass game. They got 2 picks. Like, the defense balled out. And while I don't think Joe Burrow played his best game, especially early on when the protection was pretty good in the first half, he still didn't play bad. Like, he was still good. You know, Chase was balling. Higgins had a huge game. TB did have the one drop, but overall, he had a good game. Joe Mixon was doing his thing when he got his opportunities. And all in all, I felt very, very confident about the offense outside of the O-line. When the O-line broke down, the offense obviously broke down. That is the real reason that we lost. We scored that one touchdown on the long play at the beginning of the third. We didn't score another touchdown for the rest of the game. And I think we only kicked, one field goal? I don't have the box score in front of me, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we wasn't able to move the ball. So after all the ref stuff, after everything, bro, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds left. We got 2 timeouts. All we really need to do is get in field goal range to at least push that thing to overtime. If not, score the touchdown and take the dub. If we have a semi-functional O-line at that point, we win that game. We win that game. I mean, hopefully I can find a picture. On that last play where Joey basically got sacked, he throws it up, just trying to make something happen because it's the last play of the game. On that play, you'll notice that Jalen Ramsey completely falls on the ground and Chase is wide open. He's wide open. Semi-functional O-line with another half a second to throw the ball. This is a huge completion, possibly a touchdown. And the only reason I'm saying possibly a touchdown is because if Joe was running and on the move, he might not have been able to throw it perfect. So Chase probably would have had to come back and catch it. And by then, Ramsey maybe gets up, maybe makes the tackle. Either way, it don't matter. We call a timeout, and there's like a minute left in the game, and we easily in field goal range. Like, we're in position to win. You know, take a couple shots at the end zone. Like, we would have been golden. But that play right there was kind of a microcosm of all the Bengals issues this year. And it is what it is. You know, I thought that my only complaint with the Bengals front office this past year, because I thought they did a phenomenal job. They did a phenomenal job of building a team and improving the O-line. But then, you know, an injury or two like we got, and then boom, you're right back. You're right back to the same thing. I thought they could have been more aggressive in free agency last year, bringing in a guard or at least like one solid dude to put on the right side. Like, I really think that right there, instead they relied on a rookie who played tackle in college to come in and just be ready to start at guard, and then some other developmental players who have shown promise at times, but bruh, you know what I'm saying? So that didn't work out. But again, if you're happy about all of the moves that the Bengals made, the money that they saved and actually got better players, right, on defense, right? They saved money and got better players. So you have to give them credit for that. But yeah, like we was all screaming, they should have done a little bit more with the line. Not drafting. If you still talking about drafting Sewell, you can get the... Don't come at me with that, okay? I don't want to hear that bull. Because we wouldn't even made the playoffs if we would have drafted Sewell. Much less have been to the Super Bowl. Chase is the man. All right, so chill with that. But they could have grabbed some upgrade. You know what I'm saying? Like another marginal upgrade or two in free agency. They chose to do it how they did it, and the way that they chose got us to the damn Super Bowl. So I'm not going to cry too much, but, you know, that's just if we're evaluating what we could have done differently. That's the thing that we could have done. Free agency a little bit differently. As great as we did in free agency, we just needed to build that line there. Okay. So like I said, man, I didn't think Joe played his best game, and I'm pretty sure he feels the same way. I thought he missed one or two throws and maybe one or two reads early in the game, especially in the first half when the protection was good. Again, 1 sack in the first half. But I'm not judging him for nothing that happened in the second half because the line just broke down. And listen, at that point, you're trying to make magic. Everything is like either your very first read, like right at the gate, or like those second reaction plays where you got to make somebody miss. And that stuff is like, that's a coin flip. You know what I'm saying? You never know how that's going to play out. But not only did I still think he played pretty well, just his leadership, dog. His leadership is something that you don't see too often, man. It's a couple of cats in the league who I feel like are just, they have that crazy leadership where the team just take their personality and follow them. I'll name Lamar Jackson is one of those guys. He don't really get the credit for it, but I think Lamar is a great leader, and that team takes his personality. Same thing with Joe. And the reason I'm naming another quarterback, because people probably just think I'm biased for the Bengals. This is just what I see. Like, them dudes are great leaders. When you look at somebody like look what's going on with Kyler and them over there with the Cardinals. He's scrubbing his Instagram and stuff. Like, you know, I just can't see Joey or Lamar doing something like that. You feel me? Like, Lamar dealing with a contract situation right now, you know? But man, Joe walked in, changed the franchise, you know, and like I said, they were already building something that was going to be better, I think, than what we had previously. But if you get the quarterback wrong, it won't matter. Like, it'll all fall apart, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that we got Joe, I think from a mental standpoint, he's just different, bro. I respect the dude so much. Like, he's got a mindset unlike anything that we generally see. And I've said a million times, he don't have the same physical traits as some of the other quarterbacks in the league, but I will take Joe Burrow over every quarterback. Like, I'm dead ass serious. I don't want any other quarterback in the NFL other than Joe Burrow to be the QB of the Bengals. There it is. So I think that right there, without me waxing poetic for too long, that should just let you know how I feel about the cat. Jamar Chase, man. Chase, I think there was the rust aspect and stuff, but one of the reasons I think Chase struggled in the preseason is because just the lights just wasn't really on. Like, when it's real football, bro, Chase, that man is a dog, like a true dog. He made Jalen Ramsey look crazy in that game. And I can promise you, if we could have protected just a little bit better, he would have made him look a whole lot worse. A whole lot worse, you know? And I got respect for Jalen Ramsey. I think he probably is the best corner in the league. He can't guard Chase, which means to me that nobody in the league can guard Chase. That's how I feel. So yeah, man, like I said, man, defense was great. I thought everybody played well. O-line played well in the first half, but in the second half, it was their collapse, I think, that ultimately led to us losing the game. And credit to the Rams. I don't know if I said that. I said it on Twitter, but you know, I'm just talking about my team right now. This is nothing against the Rams. All right, man, and before we end this, I just want to kind of talk about the prospects of next year just real quick. So losing in the Super Bowl a lot of times doesn't bode well for the losing team. A lot of times they don't get back. The next year they fall off. But here's the thing. The Bengals, unlike many of those teams, we weren't actually sold out to get here. We still got all of our offensive weapons under contract for several years. We got $60 million in cap space, like probably the 4th or 5th most in the NFL, before we cut Trey Waynes, who I believe is the highest paid player on our defense. If he ain't the highest, he's the second highest paid player. Has played like 2 games in 2 years. That's not a shot at Trey Waynes. Hey, injuries happen, but you know, the Bengals are probably going to move on from him, get even more cap space back. So again, $60 million, we got all every single one of our draft picks. And not to mention, we get a free draft pick back next year. Rookie pass rusher Joseph Ossai, remember the name. He beat Tristan Wirfs in the preseason and sacked Tom Brady. Then got hurt, missed the entire year, didn't play a single regular season game. He's coming back next year as well, along with the other pass rushers. Now we do need to re-sign Jesse Bates. So that's probably like the one big contract that we do need to give out. If they don't end up franchise tagging him, we'll see how that goes. And then after that, there's a couple of guys that I would like back, like BJ Hill and Larry O. Guys who are on one-year deals, but that shouldn't break the bank. We may only end up bringing one of them back. We'll see. But all in all, we look great from a cap space standpoint. We look great from a draft pick standpoint. We have all of our assets and we know exactly what we need to fix. Like, it's not rocket science. Everybody knows. So when that's the case and you got $60 million in all your draft picks to do it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel really, really good about that. The front office just got to make it happen. Even if that means just trading some of them draft picks for like proven offensive linemen, that probably would be the best option other than just, you know, hitting home runs in free agency, which maybe we do. I think we got to sign at least 2 quality starters, offensive linemen, preferably right tackle, right guard, in free agency. Just get that out the way before the draft, okay? And then you can take one of them draft picks, 2 of them draft picks, trade them for another lineman. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't care how you do it, Bengals, but do not play with us, all right? Protect our quarterback. We understand this year. You had to get Chase. I'm glad, bro. If Chase would have been on another team doing this, you know how pissed off I would have been? Thank God you got Chase. The offensive line situation didn't work out as well as we'd hoped. It actually kind of did work out as well as we'd hoped, but we just didn't anticipate playing this deep into the season because they weren't good in the regular season, but that was good enough for us to win 10 games and make the playoffs. And you got to remember, we're still in the middle of a rebuild, so there's still weaknesses on the team, and that's it right there. So we obviously need to fix the offensive line. I'd like to bring in another corner. Again, based on what you can expect from a corner like Eli Apple, I thought he did a good job filling in, but I would like to replace him with a corner who I can expect a little bit more from, right? And also preferably a cat who won't go on Twitter and turn half of the fans against us, you know? Like, why are you doing that, cuz? So anyway, when you look at all of our assets and the way we're set up, bro, this was Madden. I'll just go ahead and predict another Super Bowl appearance right now, just based off the fact that this team is gonna be our worst roster for the next 3 to 5 years at least, and we lost in the Super Bowl by 3 points to a stacked Rams team. And we absolutely had an opportunity to win that game. But with that said, this is not Madden. It's the NFL. I've been watching the NFL for a long time, and just because you get better on paper doesn't mean you're gonna make it as far as you did the previous year. I understand that. I get it. But with that said, while the loss still absolutely hurts, it's the next day. I'm already shifting my mind into off-season mode, and I'm sure the organization is doing the exact same thing. Let's rebuild that O-line, maybe make a few tweaks in other spots, come back next year, bigger, better, stronger, and ready to go get it. If any Bengals players or fans or anybody is watching this, bro, love y'all, man. Proud of y'all, proud of what you was able to do this year. Amazing, amazing season. We scraped, we clawed, we fought. Joey B, reinforcements is coming. Reinforcements is coming on that O-line next year, bro. We're going to make another run at it. All right, man, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. Yo, shout out to Current once again for sponsoring. Don't forget to download the app and use code FlemLo to enter the giveaway. I'll catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.